As we near the end of the Football Manager 2019 beta and approach the release of the full game, I thought it was around about time that we started having a look at some of the other Football Manager games that are going to be hitting our various devices over the coming days and weeks. Starting off today with Football Manager Touch on PC. So this is the PC version. However, it is very, very similar to the iPad and Switch. Is that a thing that's happening? Versions. Certainly last year anyway. The PC, iPad and Switch versions were basically the same game. So it's going to be an interesting look at Football Manager Touch, and also over the next few days we're going to be looking at Football Manager Mobile and the iPad version of FM Touch when that drops as well. And if there is a Switch one this year, is that happening again? If there is a Switch one this year, we'll certainly have a look at that too when it happens. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the first looks at all of the different flavours of Football Manager 2019. And of course, daily FM19 content on the full fat version of the game too. So this is where we start things off on FM Touch. Then I have created a character that looks just like me, you know, slim and handsome. Just like me in real life. And we're starting from this screen just to have a look to see what the different game modes that we've got in FM Touch this year. And it looks like it's the standard stuff from always. Career, Fantasy Draft, Online Career, Create a Club, Challenge, and the Versus mode that we can't do in the full fat version of the game anymore. I'm just going to have a look to see if there's any new challenges. Would I like to use the touchscreen oriented skin? I don't, because I'm playing on my PC, but obviously the touchscreen optimized skin is then the skin that you would use on the iPad version, and presumably we've got cross-play, cross-save things between the iPad and the PC again this year, like we've had in previous years. I don't think I'll be able to confirm that until I make my video about the iPad version, but that's certainly been a feature of previous years, even dating back to the days when this game was on Vita. So the challenges this year, it looks like it's the same challenges we've had in previous years. I don't think we've got anything new here on challenges, so we're going to ignore the challenges. I do like a go on a challenge. Usually when I have an iPad game running, it's usually on a challenge rather than on a full-on version of the game. We'll just have a look at downloads as well. Can we have downloads? Perhaps we can't have downloads because we're still in the beta at the moment, presumably. I think I've read somewhere, someone said something about you can't actually have a Steam page to do DLC and stuff until the full version of the game is out, but presumably that's going to be where you're able to unlock the things like never being sacked, having unlimited money, that kind of thing that we've had in previous years. But let's start a career. No, we still don't want to use touchscreen optimized. You want us to start with Man City? Fair enough. I mean, I'm not that bothered. We'll do an advanced setup to see what options we've got to set this up. So it looks like we've got 3 nations we can use, and there you go, there's your confirmation that it is going to run with the iOS and Android cross-sync functionality. Will cause game to run slow. Okay, so hold on, having this setup causes remove nation and league restrictions. Okay, so if you want to be able to do cross-play, cross-save with an iOS or an Android device, no mention of Switch there, so perhaps if it is happening, we're not getting a cross-sync functionality. But if you want to be able to cross-sync with an iPad or an Android tablet, you can only have 3 nations. But you do have the option to remove the limit, but then you can't do cross-sync. Well, I want to be able to cross-sync. It's probably the only reason I'd ever play this on PC. So if we can only have 3 nations, we've already got England. So let's also add Spain, and I mean, you've got to add Germany. We've got the Bundesliga licenses now. How do you not add Germany? So we'll start that game with 8 leagues from 3 different nations. We haven't got the lower non-league stuff. With Man City, we don't really need the lower down non-league stuff loaded. And that will give us an estimated game speed of 5 stars. Is 5 stars enough for the game to be set up ready for us to have a look at before I'm finished talking about it being 5 stars? That's the real question. And I think for it to be able to work on an iOS device, certainly I've got a 2-year-old iPad Pro now. For it to run on there, it needs to be able to get this stuff up and running nice and quickly for us. And it has. And there you go. We've got me. It's lost my favourite team. I did put my favourite team on there before. I have to put my favourite team in as Posh, even though we're not managing Posh. It's just not civilised otherwise. I am 182 centimetres and 75 kilograms in real life, in case you're wondering. And there's my real date of birth. We do need to add a pair of spectacles. He's already got a beard, and we need to change the colour of his tie. We need a blue tie. So we're managing Man City. Is that a City blue? I'm colourblind. That's near enough. We don't want to add another manager. We just want to start playing. And here we are with Man City. So do we have to save it to the cloud for it to be able to cross sync? I'm not sure. We'll just save it locally for now and have a look to see what our options are. We're just going to have a little bit of an overview of the game today. Really, I want to see if it's got the new tactics system in, if it's got the new training system in, and have a look at the match engine on FM Touch. That's really all we're going to be looking at. It's just a quick, I mean, on first inspection, it looks just like full fat Football Manager. So the one thing that obviously is different is we don't have to do all the press conferences on all of that nonsense. So our introduction to the team is nice and simple. It looks like it does have the tactics induction and so does that mean we've got the new tactics and training system? So training, we have the new training system in FM Touch, boys and girls. My backroom staff are going to run it. If you want to see, if you want an in-depth look at how training works in Football Manager 2019. Oh, in actual fact, this is a different training system. So we have a training system, but it's a slightly pared down version compared to the one in Full Fat FM. So we've still got the mentoring groups. We can still do individual training. Doesn't look like we've got the option to change the position that they train, which might just be because they're not back training yet. But rather than having a broken down schedule of 3 sessions a day, every day, it looks like we can just say, right, this week we want to focus our training on possession. And then at some point we change it to technical. So it's a slightly different version of the tactics to the one that we've got in the full fat version of the game. I'm just going to leave that to my assistant manager. I don't want to be messing around in tactics when I'm sat there playing on my iPad on the toilet. And the whole purpose of this is it's a cross-sync save. So that was training. Let's have a look at tactics. Again, we're not going to do the induction. I'm going to assume the tactics system is the one from the full game. It is. So if you want to see a full-on introduction to how the tactics system works, I've got a standalone video going through the full tactics induction. You can find a link to that down in the description, so you can go and watch that without needing to watch me go through it all again. So we're just going to set up a basic tiki-taka tactic for Man City to use. We're going to use a 4-2-3-1 and tiki-taka its face off, do a quick pick, and we probably don't have players available. Oh, we do have players available. In fact, are they available? It looks like the players are back from the World Cup, which is very handy. Hopefully we've got a friendly coming up against our under-23s. We haven't. Can we arrange that? Does it arrange that in this version of the game? What we might do is just leap forward to play the friendly once we've had a little bit of an explore. So, season expectations, we'll just confirm all that. Pre-season fitness report, everybody's back. It's confirmed the summer's transfers. Let's have a look around at some of these other screens then. Squad induction, I don't think I need a squad induction. But if we have a look at individual players, so it's a slightly different looking screen to the one that we get on the full version of the game. Obviously a little bit more set up, so all the information is on one screen, so it's easier to view on an iPad, which is clever. I like that. It's all consolidated down nicely. In fact, I really like this screen. This screen. Can we get this screen in the full game? That's a nice screen. Contract details, transfer details, development reports. Interestingly, is that the stars without the outlines? We've got outlines on our stars in full FM now. FM Touch, still no outlines on the stars. And there's the history of the players. That's fine. That all makes sense. Tactics wise, can we train more than one tactic? There's a difference between this and the full version of the game. It looks like we can only do one tactic at a time, like on previous versions of FM Touch. And also tactical familiarity is removed as well, so we don't have to worry about training specific to tactics. You pick a tactic, you can train the tactic, and then it's immediately full familiarity. And the training isn't specific to tactics at all. The training is literally just, right, what do we want to focus on? If we want to get better at set pieces, we can focus on it. But we're not specifically training for a tactic the way you do in the full version of Football Manager. Team report screen, I think, is going to be the same stuff. I don't need a team report induction. Obviously, you can do all of these inductions in your own version of the game. Same to the backroom staff. I didn't want to do that. Don't give me the backroom staff induction. So backroom staff looks like it works very similarly to how it's worked on FM Touch previously. It doesn't look like there's any significant change there. Responsibilities, we can allocate them according to however we want them. So Backroom, as standard, it looks like Backroom Staff do opposition instructions, manage friendlies. So we want to manage the first friendly and have a little bit of a look. Training we've already looked at. Schedule we've already looked at. Competitions doesn't want to load up. Oh, there you go. Competitions is the same screen we're used to. Scouting. Am I pressing the wrong button here? Because I don't want to do the scouting tutorial. I'm going to be responsible for it. Finish. So the only players we've got scouted at the moment are Eden Hazard and Christian Eriksen. How much money do we have to spend? We've got £56 million. Well, we're not going to get Hazard for that, but we could potentially get Eriksen, I would suggest. Let's have a look at Christian Eriksen then. Oh, maybe we can't. Wowzers. How much is Eden Hazard? Eden Hazard is even more expensive. Should we try and sign him? Can we do a... So transfer offer. I don't want to do your induction. Before you get started with your bid for Eden Hazard, let's take a moment to discuss the various negotiation options available to me. No, thank you. I'm going to do incoming transfers. And do we have the option to do this on the Never Never? We do. Instalments. Let's just stick it all on instalments. So what do they want? Like 125 million quid? This looks very similar to how it works in the full fat version of the game. Suggest terms. And it's unacceptable. So let's bump it up to 150. Make that offer. And you never know, that first friendly, we might have Eden Hazard playing for us. We've made an offer for him. The board looks the same as it has in previous versions of FM Touch. Finances, again, you've got the option to adjust your budgets, make board requests. And then we have a reserve team. So it looks like you don't have under 23s and under 18s. You just have a reserve team, which is where... I guess that's where all your younger players go, because there's not a massive squad there. Presumably Man City have more players than this in real life. The easy way for me to check that would be to have a look at Chelsea, who I'm managing in the full fat version of the game. Is there not like a search at the top? How do you... You have to click the search button specifically. That's a bit clunky, but I guess makes sense when you're doing a touchscreen interface. So if we have a look at Chelsea's squads, so there is still a large first team squad and a fairly large reserve team squad, but that's not all of Chelsea's players. These reserve, so none of the really young players have made it through. They've basically binned off the under 18s looking at it, which is fair enough. Right, what I'm going to do now is fast forward to that first friendly so that we can have a look at the match engine in action, and that will conclude our first impressions of FM Touch 2019. Right, we've fast forwarded. I did end up offering £300 million for Eden Hazard. And yeah, they're not having it. And you can't offer more than £300 million in FM Touch. I don't know if you can in the main game. I've never tried. But certainly on the Never Never, I can't offer more than £300 million. I wonder if I can do £50 million now and £300 million over the next 3 years. Still unacceptable. Apparently, Chelsea don't want to sell. But we are going to have a look at the match engine now as well in FM Touch. So we'll just quick pick our team, playing our tiki-taka system. That's the 11 that we're using. Let's get into the game and have a little look at the FM Touch match engine in action. Now, in theory, I would expect it to look very similar to the full fat FM match engine. Oh, it's got game sound. How do we turn game sound off? Let's just kick off. I don't need this. I don't need that. What I need is to get in here and turn off the dirty game sounds. Right, we're going to play the first half on the 3D and the second half on the 2D so that we can have a look at both as well. What we do need to do is make sure that we have a look behind goal there so that we have our replays from behind goal. Oh, we need to speed that up hugely. So faster between highlights, and yeah, there we go. That's what we want. Nice and fast so we can keep an eye on what's going on. Although, have I made this too fast? No, this is how fast I normally play Football Manager. So, I mean, first impression, it looks exactly the same as the full fat FM match engine, which obviously I'm playing it on the same PC I play that game on. So, you would expect it to look very similar. The real test of what the match engine is going to be like this year in FM Touch, if you usually play it on a mobile device like an iPad or a Switch, is going to be playing it on those devices, which I'll do in those future videos. Just to clarify as well, because I always get this question. Chances are, if you're going to ask this question, you've not made it this far into the video anyway, but I did get this question a lot on these first look videos last year. FM Touch is the tablet version of Football Manager. This is me playing it on PC. As soon as I've got access to the tablet version, I'll make a video on that as well, and that'll be on an iPad Pro. This is different to FM Mobile. This isn't the version that you get on mobile phones. If my mobile phone could look this good, I would be a very happy man. One day, maybe. But this is FM Touch, currently being played on a PC. I will do comparison videos as well to show you the iPad Pro version and the Nintendo Switch version, if that's a thing that's actually happening. I haven't actually confirmed that anywhere yet. And then there'll be a standalone video on Football Manager Mobile, which is then the mobile phone version. That'll be on an iPhone. And you can play that on tablet as well, I think. But that doesn't have the ability to cross-sync with this version on PC. It's complicated. There's there's so many different ways to play Football Manager. There should never be a situation where you find yourself at a time or a place where you're not able to play Football Manager, because it's always there for you. But we're knocking the ball around fairly nicely. We're playing our little tiki-taka. It'd be interesting to have a look at the match stats. I've not actually experimented with tiki-taka at all on the new version of FM. So I'm just going to put the match stats on just so we can see things like how we're doing for possession. We're on 67% possession, 84% pass completion. So this is half first look at FM Touch, half let's have a look at tiki-taka as well. And then at half time, we're going to switch it over into the 2D view. And I haven't looked at 2D at all on FM19. I haven't even looked at it on the full fat version of the game, because I've got no interest in playing in 2D anymore when I'm playing my full series on my PC. However, I know from last year on the iPad, it ran the 3D match engine, but you wouldn't say it ran it well. And I did end up playing with the dots on the 2D dots on the iPad. So I want to have a look at how that looks as well, because that's how I'm most likely going to be playing FM Touch, in 2D on my iPad. Aguero's in to make it 4-0. When did we? I don't remember us going 3-0 up. 69% possession now. We've not had a clear-cut chance yet, but we have scored 4 goals. I don't think we need to be watching all these replays. We are getting a good idea that we're better than Balestier. Who knew? Man City are better than Balestier. But we're also getting a good idea that if you're playing it on PC, you should expect the match engine to look as good as it is on PC as well. We've got the nice little curly ball movements there that you've got in the full game. So it's had a nice little upgrade. If you're a FM Touch only player, there's enough in this to warrant going out and getting the new version of the game, if for no other reason than the spit and polish that the match engine has had, and the new tactics and training systems, because it's the biggest revolution in FM Touch for a long time, since it was put on iPad, probably since it's been FM Touch, because what did it used to be called? FM Classic, I think is what it used to be called. Since it's become FM Touch and been on iPad as well, I think this is the biggest step forward that the game has had. And I do get it every year. I'm a sucker for it. Even though I play over 1,000 hours of the full fat version of FM on PC, I still have the mobile version. I still have the tablet version. I still have the Switch version. Because, you got to be able to play Football Manager in any and all situations. Are we on key highlights, or is this extended? Because this seems to be the longest first half in the history of the world. We conceded a goal. My word. Balestier are getting back into it. What country are Balestier in, by the way? Balestier. It sounds a little bit Irish, but I'm assuming it probably isn't, just by looking at the team name, their player names. There's not a lot of what you would consider Irish names in their team, so it's probably, I don't know. I don't want to guess. Balestier, where are you from? Overview. Singapore. Well, there you go. It's a Singapore team. Right, half time. We are going to enjoy the fact we don't have to do team talks, and then switch it over to have a look at 2D Classic. There it is in all its glory. And I'm going to turn replays off for the second half, because we don't need to see us score a whole load more goals, but we do want to have a little look at 2D Classic. Now, for me, when I used to play on 2D, and we are going back a few years, or on the iPad, I always stick it up a notch on the speed, just because it looks painfully slow sometimes if you play 2D with just the dots at the same speed you play the 3D version of the game. And I know some people like to say, goodness me, this is the first time I've seen 2D Football Manager on a PC, probably since I was looking at FM Touch this time last year. And it's like, it's a blast from the past. It's quite good fun. I'm not changing. I'm not going to be changing back to 2D for any of my main series. Don't worry. Or don't get excited, those of you who wish I would, because you love the 2D. once you go 3D, you can't really go back, I don't think. One thing I have noticed is our tiki-taka, less effective in 2D. Read into that what you will. But we're just sort of knocking the ball around. We're down to 62% possession now. So still utterly dominating the game, but not quite to the extent that we were. Mendy getting very far forward on that left-hand side. And we're literally just leaving 2 men back and then attack with everybody else, which is a very Kev way to play. I'm quite enjoying the way that we're playing. But I'm unlikely to keep this going as my actual FM Touch save this year, partly because it's in beta, and I'm unlikely to carry a beta save over because I'm not sure that I'm not absolutely certain that the beta will work with cross sync. I suggest it probably would because it mentioned it at the start, but I'll start a new one when I get the iPad version in a couple of days' time, and every now and again cross sync it if I'm sat at a PC and just want to carry on the save. But more than likely it'll be an iPad exclusive save. But there we go. That was my first look at Football Manager Touch 2019, the PC version. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of it, which versions you're looking at picking up as well. Do you ever play this on PC, or do you play it on a tablet, or are you really waiting for the mobile version or the Switch version? Let me know down in the comments. We'll get a little chat going about it. But that was FM Touch 2019. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, plus those first looks at the mobile versions and all the other versions of Touch. And thank you very much for watching.